Mine says 5:59, but I saw that it was switched over before. All that, just within seconds now. I know. Well, this used to be within just a couple seconds of WWV there, 6 o'clock. It is 6 o'clock. We would like to call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
6 p.m. start. And did everybody look at the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't take an awful lot of time to read it. I would need a motion and a second to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda before anybody adds anything to it.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda as written. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5. And number 4 is alderman interviews if needed. Is there anybody here from Ward 2 that might be interested in becoming an alderman? Appears if there is. Then we'll move on to number 5, public input.
I have input, a couple questions. I noticed that the garbage cans are coming up for further discussion. I'd like to point some things out. First of all, those are polypropylene. Notice the warranty is 3 years. It does say it's UV stable, but it's for the printing, not for the can itself. When you set something outside that it's not UV stable, that it will break down. Break down in a hurry. The other thing is that we've got 11 cans with the open weave kind of things. The complaint is that the tops or the covers for them were faulty. Why doesn't the city approach either the merchants or the chamber to purchase a domed lid and put their store name on it or whatever, and they can contribute to the cost of that dome lid. The dome lids are running anywhere from $60 to $100 a pop. That's certainly cheaper than $500 for a can plus the other accoutrements. I did notice that tonight there was a newscast, and it was Van Epps Park, and Van Epps Park have similar cans as what our old ones are. We can spruce them up with a little bit of paint, and have the merchants donate the domes to advertise their stores or their businesses. We kill some birds, same birds with one stone. We get public involvement in covering that. We don't have to spend a lot of money on it, and we give them the opportunity to do some advertising, because the most of them, as I understand it, most of these cans were going to be downtown Alcester. The other thing is that, do they really need to be tipped up? In the brochure, it said you could put up to 70 pounds of ballast weight. In my reading of the thing, where does that ballast go when you tip the thing at 45 degrees? Where's that put, and where's that being kept? So just something to consider before you vote, please. I think it would be a good community thing that the council goes to the community members and asks, would you be interested in this, or the chamber, and asks. And we can use what we've got, which appears to be, from the ones I saw, and a couple other folks that were looking at them, they seem to be okay. It's just those pesky lids. And like I said, we could get a few more years out of those cans without having to spend a lot of money that we don't have at this point in time. The second thing I have is I did issue a Freedom of Information or sunshine request, and I was looking for the flood maps from around 2016 or so, or the current map. I would prefer the one from 2016, and that should be coming. I forgot about no mail service, so that might be a little late. I can, if you wish, I can email you a copy of what I sent. So with that said, that's everything I have at this point.
Is there any other public input?
I don't know if this is now, but have we called one over?
No, it is on the list.
Okay, okay.
Number 4.
The bar.
The bar, that bar issue, the smell, isn't that what it was?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Trap.
she said she doesn't know if we care, I said we care. So,
Okay, is there any other public input? If not, we'll move on to, is it pronounced Bros?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Bros Engineering, and I guess we'll yield to your
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah. Thanks for having me. I'll say that I haven't said the Pledge of Allegiance. I won't tell you how many years, but I did. I did say the Pledge of Allegiance in the Alcester school many years ago, so that was kind of fun. But thanks for having me. I was here and visited with Pat. Do you go by prefer Pat?
That's fine.
Okay, and with Lonnie, actually graduated with Lonnie. Again, we won't say how many years ago that was. But I now work for Bros Engineering, and a part of what we do and offer to small communities is a multi-community chip seal project. Beyond that, we're looking at other things we can also help small communities with, which is like cammering sewer systems. What happens with small communities is they go to a contractor to try to get funding or get a bid for some of these projects, and so oftentimes you just don't get a good enough bid or enough companies that are interested in bidding these types of projects because they're so small for them to come in and just do one small project. So you get a couple local guys that are willing to kind of come in and do that. What we like to do is try to get multiple communities. We've gone as far west as Kennebec, Mount Vernon. Oh gosh, the last like 3 years we've had Wessington Springs, Avon, Geddes, Platte, Pickstown, Kennebec, just to name a few of the towns that we had participate. Last year we had Beersford. They started to participate with it. And they were very happy with just the hands-off opportunity. So what we do is Bros comes in and handles the plan, the bidding, the contracts, everything is hands-off. The only thing really that we would need would be Lonnie or someone in the street department to help us determine kind of what your priority is or what streets you're wanting to do. I believe it's like 14,000 square yards is typically.
Yeah, that depends on the price.
Yeah.
If it was based off last year's, we're like 16,000 something.
Okay.
I guess it all depends on the price per square yard.
Yep. So last year we had, or actually the last 3 years, we've had Aztec, which they're a company, a big outfit. They're out of Minnesota, up by Mankato area. They've done just a tremendous job for us. And they like the ability to come in and just have all the plans, the documents, everything. They know what's going on. They come into the town in Beersford. Last year I did some inspection on that. They did, I believe it was about 40,000 square yards, and they were in and out of there in a day, like probably 2/3 of a day. They come in with their crew, they do a really nice job. They'll do the chip seal, so ours, we include a chip seal and a fog seal. The fog seal is usually done a few days after. What the fog seal does and is nice is that They'll clean up the chips, it'll seal those chips down so you have a lot less mess, if you will, a lot less sitting in your gutter, going into your storm drains. They do a really good job with covering manholes. I live in Centerville. I've seen the job that some of them did in Centerville, and they just made an absolute disaster of some of the manhole lids, which then in turn makes it a mess for the city crew to access those manholes later. So in the past, or last year, I believe what we had, it was about $1.70 per square yard is where it ended up for the chip seal. Now, all of these specs are state specs, so they're based on all of the state specs as far as the oil that's being used, the rock quantity, and then the fog seal as well. So that's another good thing, is you know that these contractors are coming in and following state specs to make sure that it's a good job well done. Also, what Burroughs offers is construction admin during this process. So we've got a person here in town the whole time, for the most part, of them doing this project, making sure that they're getting the right quantities down, so you're getting what you paid for. That's one of our biggest complaints with small towns, is one, they have a problem with people coming in. They're coming in with partial trucks full of oil. You're getting charged for a full truck of oil. The city guys are having to track quantities, having to track all of that, handle traffic control, all of that. That would all be taken care of. As far as we would have someone that's collecting the tickets, doing the billing, the bidding, all of that whole process. Guess, what would you guys have for questions? Yeah, Dave.
The $1.70 price that you quoted last year, excuse me, was that just the chip seal, or did that include the fog seal?
That includes the fog seal. Yep. The fog seal, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's kind of nice because all the people in town think you just got a brand new street. It's a black layer of oil emulsions that go over the chip seal. It helps seal the chips down, or the aggregate down, so you're not getting as much kickback and wear. It also gives your street a nice black finish, so it helps with melting, which sounds silly, but we all love the help of melting in the North Country. And it looks nice. It gives it a nice clean finish. It's nice for striping as well. Gives that striping a nice pop. But yes, the $1.70 covers both. So.
Does that also, is that your guys' engineering in there?
That does not cover engineering
Okay.
fees. So we usually cover it's usually about $95 per 1,000 square yards is a general rough number of. So that covers, on your sheet here, you'll kind of see what that covers under compensation. Covers a map, table of quantities, engineer's estimate, plans, specifications, bid documents, bid letting, award. It also covers the construction inspection and quality control, which I feel like is one of the biggest values there for you guys having this. And then final quantities and pay application as well. So it really is a hands-off for the city. You do have that fee, of course, but one thing I like to say to the towns that I speak to that's never really factored into it is like Lonnie's time. You know, he's got a lot of time on his side for traffic control, for helping coordinate. You've got time for bid letting that's really never directly applied to the price of what you pay, you know. Obviously, if it does cost the city money, I think the quality control side of it, knowing that you're getting what you pay for, a company that are experts really in the chip seal and can come in and get the job done right for you, there's a value in all of that. But
We have a excuse me, do we have an estimate on how many square yards we're going to be dealing with this year approximately, or?
Going into it before all this, based off last year's prices, I figured around 16,000.
Another thing we've done with towns, we've found that with the fog seal and getting a good product, that they're able to space their chip seal whole process through the town out a little bit further. So say they typically do like a 5 to 7 year reseal, or a 5 year, we're able to maybe push it out, some of it to a 7 year, and go into like, kind of look at the whole town and be like, okay, this region we need to do this year, this region we need to do another year, help with just the overall planning of the condition that the roads are in.
So just say every, say, 3-4 years, what if you come back and just fog seal? Is that gonna do any good versus just chip sealing plus fog sealing, trying to save some money, but just kind of prolong, saving some money on preserving the street?
There is that theory. It adds some flexibility on the surface of the road. I would say 3 years would probably be pushing it though.
Yeah.
2 years would be max, just without doing another chip seal over it. Just because, unless if you come and do some like crack sealing as well,
Mhm.
some of the repair just wouldn't cover that help. I mean, if it was like a 3 year after a chip seal, maybe, but like 5 or 7 years after a chip seal, then you're gonna get cracking and stuff that a fog seal really isn't gonna.
But that's what I was kind of
Yes.
saying, is if you go in and fog, chip seal plus fog seal,
Yep.
and then say
A
a
few
few
years.
years down the road, just come back and just
Yep.
fog seal it.
Yep.
Try to save the money from chip sealing.
There's also called a slurry seal. I don't know, is that what you guys have done in the past?
No, we've looked into it, we just never really
Yeah.
jumped. So the school did that on their parking lot over here, the big parking lot, that's a slurry.
So the slurry is pretty close to the same thing as a fog. The slurry just has a little bit more aggregate in it, which I feel would be a little bit better for a in-between solution just because then you'd get a little bit more sealant or additional structure support.
So what does fog seal cost by itself then per square yard?
Oh, I want to say it was like 25 cents, 30 cents.
Okay.
It certainly is worth the money
Yeah.
to add that on top of the chips.
Sure.
I was quoted by chip seal company 70 cents plus we have to take care of traffic control. So going through a
That's
group
just
project,
fog, that's just fog seal?
that's just, that'd be the fog seal after they chip. So,
And that's also you sweeping up the rock.
yeah, I would have to sweep and prep it for fog.
Did you talk with Jeff in Beersford?
I did talk to Jeff, just very shortly. I'd kind of done a lot of my own research on what the process was.
Yeah.
And basically, I just asked him what he thought of it, and he said, I liked it, and I hope we do it again, so.
Yeah. So in the past, they've kind of done their own contracts with a local guy as well. And Jeff had the same complaints. This is a gentleman in Beersford. Had the same complaints that we get from a lot of small towns is you kind of feel like some of these guys are trying to take you, And you guys know better than anyone that every dollar that you spend in a small town is you got to make worth it, right? So you get these guys coming into town and not trying to like hurt their business or by any means, but you need to get, as a city, you need to get what you're paying for. And unfortunately, some of them you just don't get that. Because they're gonna cut you short on oil, so your chips aren't gonna stick as well, and you're not gonna get the seal that you should get. Or they'll cut you on rock and just put a ton of oil down, one or the other. So, yeah, Dave.
So our only extra cost is that $95 per 1,000 square yards?
So I have, on this example here, I have about what it would cost for engineering service fees. And that's $5,670. That's an estimate. So that's covering everything that we take care of, from planning to bid letting to final quantities, pay applications, all of that. So that would be, the only thing we would need out of the city employees would be Lonnie's time or whoever's time to figure out what streets they want to do. And we come and measure it out, figure out what the quantities would be, coordinate with him, be like, okay, this is what we have figured for quantities, this is what we're thinking for price. Then if the price comes in for whatever reason, high or low, then we just adjust that. Like, okay, you guys want to spend this much money, we'll take off 2,000 or 1,000 square yards or whatever it might be. Then we would adjust the quantity at that point and then go back to meet what your guys' budget is. That's what we've done in the past.
Could I get your name, please?
Heidi?
Okay, thank you.
Can you, remember last time we talked about what it would have cost, what it cost us last year? And if we had done this, did we give a comparison price-wise from last year's to if we had gone with them?
Last year we paid
$65.
$1.65 without fog seal,
And it was $1.70.
with fog seal.
That's about what we had done last year.
But then you have the engineering on top of that?
No, last year we did not.
But we
But we
would
had
this year.
Sam's,
Yep.
we had
So we're
Sam's time.
talking, it's gonna cost us an additional $5,600. Then, am I getting this right?
Yeah. you are.
Approximately, no.
Okay, all right, I just,
And actually, I mean, it's a whopping 5 cents per 1,000 square yards
yeah.
more.
No, I
But-
just wanted to make sure I was understanding it.
But that's last year's price, too.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
doesn't mean
yeah.
2022 will be the
Yes.
same price.
And that doesn't include the fog seal.
Right, yeah,
Oh, that's true.
yeah, but I just wanted to get that right.
Have you, in the communities that you've been in, sometimes when our businesses know that we're going to be doing chip seal,
Mhm.
they will contact us and say, well, we'd like to have this parking lot done. And so the guys will do it at the city quoted rate. Does that,
We have coordinated with other people. We would just typically need to know ahead of time, obviously,
Okay.
so we could include that quantity. It wouldn't be included in the city's quantity, as you would hope.
yeah,
I have had that in 2 communities. It's usually, in the past, what I've seen is just like a widening area of a parking lot that's adjacent to the road. We haven't done for a separate parking lot and entirely, but I don't see why that would be out of the question. I mean, the way they come in here and take care of business, in a matter, for lack of better words, they have the equipment to get in here and get it done right, so I don't know why that would be a problem.
because we never know until,
Yeah, so we've even had communities that have added on or come on after the bid process, which isn't ideal, just because if you're in before the bid process with a higher quantity, you're hoping to get a better price, right?
right,
So we'd like to have everybody in before we bid, which, by the way, we would like to have everything done and bid in March. That would mean approval from you guys this month or next month. Would a yay or nay would be best, so then we could go with you guys in that initial bid. So,
And October 31st is what we would call a tentative deadline, and everything should be done.
right. So the company we've got in the last 3 years, actually 4 years now, they do a lot of government state work. So they have to be done by the end of end of July, I believe, with all their work. So then they'll move off of those government funded jobs and come do the small community. Again, with your construction admin, we're making sure that they're doing it in optimum temperature. The roads aren't wet. We're making sure they're doing it under the right conditions, so you're getting the best bang for your buck, and it's gonna actually adhere, and you're not gonna get something that's just gonna fall off and not work, so. So I gave you guys an example of what our work order proposal would look like. there's a little bit more scope of work and project information, kind of what we try to do for construction period is June through September. I think last year it was September when they went through everything, but we had great weather last September, so that always helps. But
And Heidi did email this sample agreement to Sam for his review.
I noticed Beersford had pre-purchased or something, some of their rock
Mhm.
last year. And I looked at the price that Aztec or whatever
Mhm.
quoted,
Mhm.
and I feel like we could probably get it for about half of that, plus our trucking. Is that something we can work into this, or?
So last year, just because Beersford had always done their own, they
Yeah.
still had a stockpile of chips.
Okay,
So we figured out the best that we could, a quantity of what was there.
yeah,
And then we're able to take that off their end quantity.
okay.
I think it's certainly something you could look at. Again, the best part about this is it's hands off for you,
Right.
but if you feel like it's money enough ahead,
Yeah.
then it could be worth it. It would definitely, it's something we could look at.
We'd have to see the numbers to
Yeah.
figure that out.
Mhm. I couldn't tell you what aggregate prices were right offhand to chuck in, but we did adjust their bid, so then it's kind of after the fact
Yeah,
that we adjusted it.
right, yeah, I
But-
did notice that.
Yep. But they were able to use the chips that they had on site.
Does your company do any crack sealing or anything like that for additional cost, or that's?
We do not coordinate that. Any patching and sealing that would need to be done before that would have to be coordinated. We have talked with the company though, about kind of doing that in conjunction with this, to try to help service the communities for that as well. It's Clint Powell, he's the gentleman that has kind of coordinated some of that. I'd need to check with him to see where he's at with it, because I know that he has talked with the company to come in beforehand. But yes, that would be on you, the patching and
Yep.
sealing and stuff if you want to do that, as of now.
That's in that note underneath the scope of work.
Yep, yep. I would like to just, as Bros Engineering in general, we like to try to service small communities. We do a lot of work with the towns I listed off earlier, Avon, Pickstown, Platt. I mean, we've done a lot of that work in Kennebec lately. Clint Powell used to work for the government. He's really good with government funding. I don't know, I know you guys have a sewer plan in place, or water plan. Were you guys able to take advantage of any ARPA money?
At this point, we are not, because we got such a tremendous package from the government. We don't want to do anything to upset that.
Sure.
So right now, we're looking at using our ARPA money for a different project.
Sure. Well, it's the best rate of money that you'll ever get from the government in order to do small town projects. So that was one thing we really went and pushed the small towns that we knew that had a water plan in place, to try to get them those applications right away and get them in so they could take advantage of that funding. So, yeah. Dave.
Last year, what time frame, what part of what month did you do all of these cities?
It was all in September. Yep. And I think we had 6 towns, as far west as Kennebec, Mount Vernon, Avon, who else was in there? Beersford. And I think they were in and out of all those towns in a week. So they know what they're doing. Oh, I don't know what they've used for oil in the past.
CR2P.
Okay, so same oil, there's a little polymer in there to help with the seal, but. Yep.
And if you guys want some time to think about this, and then also give Sam some time to review the contract, we don't have to make a decision, or you guys don't have to make a decision tonight. We can put it on the February agenda, and we'll still be in the time frame.
And certainly reach out if any of you have any questions. I've got business cards, but the number is also on here. You could get a hold of me. Pat has my email address as well, so. All right.
Thanks for coming
Thank
down.
you.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Well, as she said, we don't have to move on this, but if you want to move on this, we can. What are your thoughts?
I think we should wait till Sam looks it over.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I think it's wise too. He's got the information, so. Excuse me.
We may have questions that come up later too.
Right.
He's also the Beersford attorney,
Tom is the Beersford
or
attorney.
maybe the company, but
Same firm.
yeah. He had said, and he's like, well, just, we have represented Beersford and know of this contract, so.
Same office.
Just so
Different
you know,
attorneys.
like, we're not, by no means would ever try to sneak anything through.
Okay, then we'll move on to number 7, the police department, and Chief Sculler is here for an update.
I don't think I brought any updates since we just did that last week. I'll definitely have updates for the next meeting.
See ya.
However, you do have a request.
I do have a request. We budgeted some monies for a AR-15 rifle. The past couple of years, we've been trying to eliminate a 1033 program, which is, we have 2 M16s on lease from the federal government. That 1033 program takes up a lot of time to do the paperwork every single year, and every single administration it changes. And also what do I want to call it? We don't need a fully automatic rifle for the community that we're in. So along with, I think it was last year or the year before, we purchased one from Buck's Gun Shop. We did that along with trade-in on a couple shotguns. So this would be the second half of that, so we can start moving to get rid of the 1033 program.
This is an Alexandria Profab, huh?
Yes. It's,
Now, so is this actually chambered 5.56 NATO, and then it also can shoot a 223, or the other way around? It's just a 223 that happens to...
it is the 5.56, so it can shoot both, but we typically just do it within the chamber that it's chambered in. But you can shoot the other round through it as well.
Yep. Got rails on it and everything that allow you to mount?
It's I'd say it's a little, our last one was more of an M16 version. This one is just kind of they call it M-lock. So it's just more of a slender, I guess, profile, and the sights are a lot shallower along. And then we are planning on, I think we actually did just purchase some red dot sights as well. So it's just a little bit different style, but it's same price range and not fully automatic and leased from the federal government.
Well, and the one you just got from Bucks is not fully automatic either, I mean, it's semi.
Yep,
So both of them will handle a red dot.
yes.
I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I do know that them having to work with the military on this is a chore. Anything you have to do with the military is a chore. So,
So those will be returned to the military then?
Yes, there's a state coordinator through there that we work with. He generally doesn't like just to return them to the federal government, just because then at that point they get destroyed, and he doesn't like stuff getting destroyed, so he's gonna wait. We're gonna wait until we see a community that is looking for a couple M16s, and then we do a transfer.
Personally, I can't think of anything that's better that would happen to an M16 than have it destroyed. What's the deal with the 4.5% sales tax?
I did speak with him. He says that we just need a letter, and that's
Okay,
squash.
so the total price then would be $9.75,
Yes, sir.
okay?
So if you're gonna give them to this coordinator, you don't have to continue working with the government once you deliver them. Because otherwise, if you have to wait for a community that wants them, do you have to continue the government
Well,
paperwork?
the paperwork I worked on last year when I first stepped in this position, it took quite a bit, but that should be good here throughout the year, and then within this year. I'm gonna wait until the paperwork is kind of up again, and then I'm just gonna be like, let's just get rid of them.
So then we can get rid of them and not have to do any more paperwork.
Yep.
That's okay, I just
So
don't.
my plan is to see if a community, he said it's a lot easier process, and just to get them transferred than to just get rid of them. So we're gonna see if we can go that route, but if it comes down to it, then.
so does that coordinator then do a little bit of legwork and look around and see if there is somebody that's interested?
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to do that.
Nope,
Okay.
he handles all that.
Well, does anybody else have any other questions first?
So these are gonna be in the trunk of the cars or in the?
They're within gun locks within the vehicle.
And this is budgeted?
It's actually under budget from what we estimated. I think we had 1,500 for the van.
Yep.
Any other discussion? If not, if we are going to move on this, we would need a motion, a second, and a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve purchase of an AR-15 16-inch barrel from Buck's Gun Shop out of the general fund in the total amount of $975.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the purchase of an AR-15 16-inch barrel from Buck's Gun Shop to be taken out of the general fund for $975. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
We'll move on to chairperson updates, and notice it says if needed. These are not, I mean, just because you're the cemetery chairperson, you do not have to have a report right now. But if you got one, we want to hear it. That's what it's all about, so. We'll start with the street, and I believe that would be, yes.
I guess I don't have nothing really in particular. Checked in with Lonnie last week and everything's going in a good direction, I guess. Talked about a few things with the truck and got some CVs mounted in. So I think everything's going good.
I saw that truck out sanding today, and that's pretty slick. I mean, it's really nice.
We did get a chance to use that snow blower, and you said it worked great on the sidewalks.
Nice. Well, if there's nothing else for street, then we'll move on to the cemetery, if there is a report.
There's no report, it's just everybody's really quiet over there.
That's good. Let's just keep it that way. What is it? We don't want a zombie apocalypse, so. Okay, then we'll move on to water.
I have nothing.
Actually, isn't it water, wastewater?
Yeah, I have nothing for either.
Okay. Library, and I guess we can do library and golf course.
Library's got a program coming up Saturday. I think you can make some kind of craft if you go over there between, what is it, 8 and noon?
Yep.
She's got a bunch of the new books that she ordered the 1st or 2nd of January that have been processed and on the shelf, so there'll be more of those coming. We were gonna have a meeting this week, but 3 of the board members weren't available, so we're gonna postpone that until next month. Golf course, not much is happening except Lucas or somebody's been out there whacking branches down, so got a lot of them laying on the ground. Lonnie said he wasn't gonna pick those up for a while, so I contacted the person that wants firewood to maybe come and make some of the bigger pieces disappear.
Oh, nice.
That's it.
Okay, then we'll move on to the finance office.
I
Any
do not have anything.
any reports from anybody? No? Okay, well then, about the downtown garbage can thing that is in your packet from Snyder Industries, Inc.
So Deborah did send us a quote, 4 cans, $5.99, the gravity latch is $40. Putting 2 decals on each can is $32, and approximate shipping is $3.54, so $29.42.98.
Now, the advantage of having these is that Lauren can jump in with his automatic start.
That is correct.
Otherwise, you gotta take the lid off if there is one and dump it all back in.
Yes,
And will he do that?
he has been doing it, but it's either him or Lane that drives through downtown. I'm gonna say it's more like Lane, and so oftentimes I will have to check the cans because Lane doesn't always check them to know that they're full.
So I did like Vicky's suggestion. However, what's to keep those lids on? What kind of lids are they?
They just sit, they're like a hat.
Yeah,
They
they sit
just
on
sit
top of the outer ring that
So
the barrels.
what are the chances of them blowing?
Very good. That's why we've lost the
Okay,
ones.
that's
we've
what I
lost.
wanted to,
Check the lids, because you can padlock them down if you need to or whatever. They can be affixed so that they don't blow.
there's no
So-
way we could get it fixed so they would latch? Like,
There's different kinds of lids, excuse me.
I mean, I did like
There's-
that. I think that would be great for advertising and save us some money, but
I don't know that you want to secure the lids to the cans because I don't know how much work that the garbage haulers are going to want to do. Right now, they have to get out of the truck, go up, remove the lid if there is a lid, dump it,
And
and
then put the
then
lid
they don't
back on.
put liners back in them, so it's
Yeah.
just a can.
Mhm.
And we have to buy cans, take the handles off of them because they don't fit in there
Mhm.
with the handles in there. I mean, they're just, they're not user-friendly, honestly. And when a can doesn't have a lid, it fills with
Yes,
moisture
yeah.
and then it gets super heavy. So. And SW stands for solid waste, not sewer.
Thank you.
I definitely like the idea, you know, of the advertisement of each business, but, you know, just say we went this avenue. But maybe we should talk to the
Yeah.
businesses first and
That's what
say,
I'm
hey, do
thinking.
you want your name on there? Would you want to sponsor?
Then maybe they will.
You know,
Yeah, that's
just-
what I'm thinking too.
Just, trying to help with the help out the
Consider
cost a
that,
little
you
bit.
know?
They may be willing to change out the bags if need be.
Chances are not.
I think
I'm sorry, but I'm guessing chances are not.
I do the ones at the park,
Uh-huh.
they're a butter.
and I have to get the guys to come do them, because when it's halfway full, I can't even pull it out. And if I can get it out, everything falls over. I mean, and that's at the park, and they do get full at the park. And they're disgusting.
Right.
Well, and I know I've seen one that, right there by Arlene's, and it's been not just full, but
Well, they
very.
get really
Right
heavy.
now. I noticed that one today.
Whenever I get, the one by the open shelter, I can't, I have to make sure that it's, if it gets over halfway full, I can't even get it out.
But the ones in the park aren't gonna be dumpable anyway,
Right.
No,
so we're gonna have to still,
we're gonna have to still.
Those
Take
two
those to the
definitely
bigger
still have
ones.
to be done.
And those metal rings don't look heavy, but they're ridiculously heavy.
I guess I would like to just approach maybe the chamber or somebody and see, there's some businesses and see if they'd be willing to,
Sponsor.
yeah.
or do we wanna get 4 of them and see if they wanna spring for a couple more or something?
Well, they won't get their names on them that way.
Yeah,
You know, now if they would,
So what are we gonna charge them for the name, the $32 or?
well,
they could have their name on there, plus they may want to donate and say, hey, we'll give you $400 towards
yeah,
that can,
yeah.
just to get the name out there. I don't know.
I mean, I do like the idea of these, I like the look of these. But it would be nice if we could defer some of the cost,
Absolutely.
you know? I don't
I
know.
think this has been in the budget for a couple of years, hasn't it?
We've talked about it for quite a while, just because I know we need to do something.
Yeah.
And those domed lids they are more money than $100. They, on our size can. And they just don't last. I
Well, if
mean,
they're gonna blow off, that's
Yeah.
not, you know, why would they wanna put their name on that if it's gonna blow off and then their advertising is down the street?
Right.
So, I get that.
Just as a quotation, I priced out Uline and I priced out Rubbermaid. And those are the prices that I had. There was a range of prices given the description of the lid. So you can go out and check for yourselves.
Which department is solid waste under?
Solid waste.
Wastewater slash?
No,
So it's not even listed here, there's no solid waste chairperson meeting.
oh, well,
Isn't it coupled with somebody else? Cemetery solid waste? I can't remember
oh,
what.
solid waste and wastewater.
I was gonna say
Wastewater,
wastewater
okay.
and solid waste.
So that should actually say yes.
Well, you know, maybe we should just buy some, and then,
Well, we were talking about 8.
I
We're replacing
I
don't,
suggested 8 and after the meeting.
I don't think we need
They
8.
thought-
I looked in Hayward, they do not have them in the middle of the blocks. You know,
Okay.
and I don't see that we have any more need than Hayward does.
I agree.
So I
And
looked
keep in
specifically.
mind, every single one of them be
What do they have for
full.
cans? I haven't looked.
They're, I don't know what I would call it, they look like, they're square and they kind of look like rock. But they have to get out and manually dump them.
Do the city guys do it?
I don't know who does it.
Okay.
Orange City Sanitation does their garbage. And they used to come out and get out like Lauren did. But now they passed, no, they don't do that anymore. You have to have their, which I totally don't blame anybody.
No, Lauren said it is a horrible job in the summer, because like Cindy said, inevitably when they
Yeah.
dump a can, all that stuff comes back on.
Yeah. And, you know, can we talk about something on this order with the garbage cans? Have you noticed at Sioux Falls, you can't leave them on the street? We have people that leave them on the street for days in my area. I mean, in the summertime, it's probably no big deal, but in the wintertime, if we ever get snow and Lonnie has to do the street and there's garbage cans sitting out there, he's gotta go around them.
He doesn't necessarily have to go around it.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, that's just something I thought we
talking
would.
to Linda,
bring
because I said
up.
I've noticed it more and more, that those garbage cans are getting left
Yeah.
on the road.
Yeah, it's,
And it looks kind of tacky,
It does.
especially with lots of garbage
yeah,
coming out.
yeah. But anyway, I am okay with buying 4. And, I don't think we have a need for more than 4 anyway. But,
But I definitely think that we should talk to the businesses
I
in
do
our
too.
chamber.
I do too.
Can we not, I mean, can we approve this and not order the decals? Because the decal could say, instead of City of
Yes,
Alcester,
yeah.
it could say Arlene's Cafe.
Yeah.
It could say
Yes.
Alcester Bar, it could say whoever.
Because you could put them on 2 sides, correct? Yeah, I think, I would agree with that.
And we don't have to buy the decals from them, we can buy them from someone else.
Oh, yeah, just put them on.
Well, they're not painted on.
She called them a decal, so
So I would guess not then.
I'm assuming it's a vinyl.
That's a good,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, at least that gives you the option to say to different businesses, if you're interested in, donating, and like you said, I don't care if it's $400, I don't care if it's $200. $1 is more than we're getting right now, so, excuse me, I guess you can do whatever you'd like, but if we are gonna go forward with ordering 4 or however many, we would need a motion second, unless there's more discussion.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 4 royal blue garbage cans, 58 gallon, with gravity latch from Snyder Industries, using money from the solid waste fund. You got the amount? 2,009, it'd be $2,910.98, or 12, $10.98. We'll do the option on the.
Took off the 32.
Took off 32.
Okay, hang on, I'm writing here. Gravity latch. Gravity latch. 2910.98. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
2010.98. Okay, I think I got it.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the purchase of 4 garbage cans from Snyder Industries with solid waste fund monies, oil blue 58 gallon with gravity latch for a total of $2,910.98. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So now just, I guess I don't know who would take the time to talk to a few of the businesses. I mean,
Well,
I can talk to some.
are we going through the, yeah, you could. too.
Well, actually, the chamber would be good.
Chamber?
That would be good. And, let's see, I can't remember who's wastewater, solid waste?
That would be us.
You and Darla?
I'm on the record.
We were anyway, I think that nothing.
Nothing has changed.
I don't think anything's changed recently. Well, would you be willing to contact the chamber and talk to them about
Who
this?
is the chamber?
Tina Kaiser.
Who was it?
Tina Kaiser
Oh, Tina.
at Lean Injection.
She's the chairperson. And their next meeting is when?
March,
Not till March?
correct.
And then we just want to tell them that the decals are like $8 to $10 for advertising. I mean, that, is that what they were?
Let's-
There were 8 decals for 32
Right.
Let's just ask if anybody's willing to donate,
to donate.
and as long as
Okay.
it's that amount or more,
Okay.
at least not out that
Okay,
there, so.
okay.
And I don't care what you want to settle on for the donation amount either. I mean,
Once they see one, they might like it and say, hey, we put towards one, we'd like, you know.
Mhm.
well, that's true. They don't have to donate before they're sitting there.
No, that's true.
It could be just blank initially for a while.
Yeah.
Clean it up thoroughly and then put the decals on.
So how, when we order these, how long will it take to get them?
She said lead time is a month.
Oh, so they would still probably have them before their March meeting too. Yeah, we probably would have them by then, right?
Yeah, we should have,
So,
pending anything.
oh, yeah, I know, yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, well, that's good. We'll see what happens. And we'll move on to the finance office updates.
So, if you're interested in staying on the council, first day to circulate a petition or to pick up the petition is the last Friday in January. And then, if you haven't already done so, cat and dog licenses, or if anyone calls you or asks you, cat and dog licenses are due by the end of the month.
And if I could add, I noticed the letter I got today, a couple additional fees, starts February 1st for the water and wastewater.
Those were the surcharges, and I didn't get those out. They started, were supposed to start in January. So for everybody else, they
February.
did start.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh. So I was the only one that got extra time?
How'd you go? I forget.
You want me to pay for January too?
But you're right, it did increase.
Sorry to bring it up, Wanda.
That's okay.
All right, we will move on to number 11, executive session if needed.
I would like to have an executive session.
And what would it be for?
Your choices are personnel or legal consultation, which Sam
I
is available.
I would say it's personnel.
Okay.
Okay, so that, in order for you to make that motion,
It's
it's SDCL 1-25-2-1.
Oh, -2, okay. So, I'm sorry, that was SDCL
CL 1-25-2-1. Personnel, you can say personnel.
I'll second that.
Oh, okay.
Wait, we don't really have a motion yet.
She didn't make a motion?
She started.
I
Oh,
started.
you're still starting.
I would like to make a motion to enter into executive session SDCL 1-25-2-1.
And I'll still second.
All right. Motion was made by Cindy. Second by Linda. Is there any discussion, excuse me. A motion has been made to enter into executive session. pertaining to SDCL 1-25-2-1 personnel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none.
Just 1 second, please. How do
I'm
you-
sorry, can I make a comment before I take off? First of all,
Yes.
thank you for letting me come. But second, that fee of $56.70, engineering fee, that would be adjusted based on how many square yards you guys do. Okay? So if it's more than 13,000, it would be a little bit more. If it's less, it would be less. Okay? I didn't
Thank
say
you.
that, so I want to make sure.
Thank you.
guys-
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Yes, you too.
Is there any discussion regarding the motion to enter into executive session? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're in executive session at 7 o'clock.
And I'll make it quick. I hope.
Lucas, do you want just the council?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll deal with that. Going. Okay. We are out of executive session at 7:46 PM. Personnel issues have been discussed, and the only thing that's left on the agenda is an adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the council. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that says 7:46, but I'm sure, yeah, that does say 7:47. At 7:47 PM, we are adjourned.
So my time is up.
Every single one except for Cindy.
Cindy and Amir. Because they
So
both.
even Linda's?
What was that?
Your turn.
All terms,
Yeah, my turn is up.
Hers is too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have five.
Almost all of us
I have
are.
five.
yeah, everybody but Cindy,
Yep.
sitting on the council.
And then you.
Well, I'm not on the council,
Well,
I'm
no.
just,
So yeah, that's a big
yeah.
change.
Well, and the thing is, we'll just have to discuss it
Yeah.
as we come to this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't.
Yeah, because I don't want to be the only one.
Well, you
Oh,
may
yeah, that could be interesting.
I can't be with myself. I'm a quorum.
Yes.
So Wendy,